is brought to you by Head Start Basketball.
Hello, and welcome to the 68th edition of the Coach's Corner Roundtable on the Hoopheads podcast. Each episode of the Coach's Corner Roundtable will feature our all-star lineup of guests answering a single basketball question. A new Coach's Corner Roundtable will drop around the 15th of each month. August Roundtable question is, how can a coach help their players get the most out of open gym or pickup games prior to the start of official practice? Our coaching lineup this month includes Jake Boyd from Eureka College, Jerry Buckley from Bishop Kenny High School, Erik Buehler from Arapahoe High School, Joe Harris from Lake Chelan High School, Dave Hixon from Amherst College, Tim Jackson, the author of Understanding College Athletics Through the Eyes of College Athletes, Kyle Jurgens from Skutt Catholic High School, Bob Krasancic from Menor High School, Joel Lincoln from Game Shots Basketball, Dave McGrail from Penn State Altoona, Brooks Miller from Trine University, Don Showalter from USA Basketball, and John Schulman from the University of Central Arkansas. Please enjoy this roundtable episode of the Hoopheads podcast, and once you're finished listening, please give the show a 5-star rating and review after you subscribe on your favorite podcast app. If you're a basketball coach at any level, please check out our Hoopheads Coaching Mentorship Program. You'll get matched with one of our experienced head coaches and develop a relationship that will take your coaching, your team, your program, and your mindset to another level. Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at HoopheadsPod for the latest updates on episodes, guests, and events from the Hoopheads Pod. Hey Hoopheads, Dr. Dish Basketball's back-to-school sale is here. From now until August 30th, you can get $3,000 off the industry's leading shooting machine, the Dr. Dish CT Plus. In addition, the first 200 customers will also receive a free Dr. Dish IC3 shot trainer to use at the school or keep for themselves. Shop now at drdishbasketball.com and follow their incredible content at Dr. Dish B-Ball on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Mention the Hoopheads podcast and save an extra $300 on the Dr. Dish Rebel, All-Star, and CT models. Those are some great deals, Hoopheads. Get your Dr. Dish shooting machine today.
Hi, this is Doc Esslinger, head men's basketball coach at Caltech, and you're listening to the Hoopheads podcast.
Prepare like the pros with the all-new Fast Draw and Fast Scout. Fast Draw has been the #1 play diagramming software for coaches for years. You'll quickly see why Fast Model Sports has the most compelling and intuitive basketball software out there. For a limited time, Fast Model is offering Hoopheads listeners 15% off Fast Draw and Fast Scout. Just use the code HHP15 at checkout to grab your discount, and you'll be on your way to more efficient game prep and improved communication with your team. Fast Model also has new coaching content every week on its blog, plus play and drill diagrams on its Playbank. Check out the links in the show notes for more. Fast Model Sports is the best in basketball. Let's hear from our panel about how a coach can help their players get the most out of open gym or pickup games prior to the start of official practice. Jake Boyd from Eureka College.
This is Jake Boyd, assistant basketball coach at Eureka College. I think the best way a coach can help players get the most out of open gyms and pickup games prior to the start of the season is probably a basic expectation of just quick, high-intensity games to a certain number, led by your leaders, your captains, and then the use of constraints, whether you're playing 3-on-3 or 5-on-5, purposeful constraints that match your actions or style, whether that be something offensively like all players must score on a team or end the game on a 3 or a paint score, maybe a 10-second shot clock, or some defensive options like no switching, no doubling, or switching everything. And then letting the winners pick the next game type, use their basketball IQ to possibly take advantage of the other team's weakness or capitalize on an advantage they have by using one of those constraints to their advantage. Look forward to hearing everybody else's answer. Thanks for having me.
Jerry Buckley, Bishop Kenny High School, Jacksonville, Florida.
This is Jerry Buckley from Bishop Kenny answering this month's questions about playing pickup in the fall. There's 3 things we do that hopefully get our guys locked in and we can get the most out of playing open gym. Number 1 is to usually keep our scoring pretty low. We'll play to 5 by 1. Or if we're on our side courts, because our side courts don't have 3-point lines, but on our main floor, if we're playing with 1s and 2s, we'll probably play to 7 or 9, just to make sure every possession is valued and guys aren't just warming up as it's going and the games drag on and nobody gets really anything out of it. Second thing is we make the player who scores the winning basket validate that win with a free throw. He's got to make the free throw to finalize the score. If he misses, the ball's live again and the point doesn't count. The second time a team goes to validate their free throw, their win with a free throw, and they don't make it, they actually lose the game. So obviously it puts a lot of pressure on the free throw shooter, and it's a good way to kind of get used to that. And then the third thing is keeping track of wins. We had a college coach in our gym years ago come to recruit one of our guys. It was actually 6 a.m. workout we were having, and he actually tracked how many games that player won over the course of the hour that they were playing pickups, just to obviously really put an emphasis on that. And that sometimes gets lost in the fall when maybe guys aren't focused on that as much. So I think it's good to track for individual players. Okay, today you went 3-5 or 4-0, whatever the case is. So it's good to kind of make sure, again, you're emphasizing winning and plays that impact winning as well.
Erik Buehler, Arapahoe High School, Centennial, Colorado.
Hey, how's it going, Hoopheads? This is Erik Buehler, assistant coach at Arapahoe High School here in Colorado. And this month we were asked, how can a coach help their players get the most out of open gym or pickup games prior to the start of the official practice? I think this is a route that you can go many different directions in. I would say for me, with pickup games and open gyms, I like to have a little bit of structure at open gyms. I know a lot of athletes come in and they have the idea of like, oh, this is just going to be fun, run up and down like we've been doing over at the rec or over at the gym. And a lot of kids I see today, they need a little structure to make it competitive. So I'd say we like to do short, quick games like 1st to 7 or 3 or 4 minutes up on the clock. Winning team stays, just to kind of make it a little more intense, make it a little more competitive. And then hopefully they're getting some conditioning out of it. Maybe this is the only time they play competitive basketball during the fall. And so you want them to be working and getting better. The other thing I would say to players, if they're going out and playing on their own, I challenge them to play a little bit more 1-on-1, a little bit more 3-on-3, just because you can learn more in those types of basketball. You have to defend. You can't hide anywhere in 1-on-1. You have to develop moves. You have to develop your shot. 3-on-3, you get more touches, a little faster pace than maybe just a 5-on-5 rec game that you're going to run into on the typical night over at the rec center. So, that's kind of what we talk about with our players. We do with our players. Thanks for having me on again, guys, and we'll talk to you next month. Bye.
Joe Harris, Lake Chelan High School, Lake Chelan, Washington.
Hey, Hoopheads. This is Joe Harris from Lake Chelan, Washington, with this month's roundtable question. How can a coach help their players get the most out of open gym or pickup games prior to the start of official practice? Our state athletic association in Washington limits us to coaching our athletes only during our season and throughout the summer. So this can be a little tricky. As the program head, I believe you must set some guidelines that your program stands on. This should include warm-up of some sort, have them play with a purpose. During any 5-on-5, make them keep score, play games to 11 by 1s, win by 2. Last game of the night ends on a stop score, stop sequence. If you have a tradition-rich culture, this will allow you to lean on your former players and your returning upperclassmen, players who have been through it all before and have an idea on how to help you lead these open gym nights. Hope you have found this of some value, and as a leader of your program, I believe it is extremely important to set some boundaries which help your teams and players grow in the off-season. Best of luck as our season approaches. Thanks again.
Dave Hixon, Basketball Hall of Famer from Amherst College.
Hey there, Hoopheads. This is Dave Hixon, retired, Amherst College. As I listen to, as I think about this question, how much things have changed, and that now, you get so many days that you can be with your kids. I don't know if it's 8 additional practices before the start date. But, back in the day, being with NESCAC, we couldn't start till November 1st. And so we'd come back September 1st to school, and we'd have September, October, 2 full months without being able to even practice or talk to our kids, really. And so I came across something really interesting, which I've talked about in a lot of podcasts, and that is a really cool little pamphlet/book called Coach Like Pop. And it's a wonderful little pamphlet, and there's a lot of great ideas in it, but it gave me something which really worked effectively, and so I stole that. And really what it is that you put rules into your game. And we used to have 3 or 4 good groups of kids because we hadn't had tryouts yet. And so we'd probably have anywhere between 16 and 20 kids that were down there. Nobody likes to sit out, and games would be to 11 or something like that. And so you get 1 point for a basket, and then you give additional points for things that you want to work on. And so it used to frustrate the heck out of me to watch our guys play, and nobody was rebounding. Everyone was shooting the ball and just turning, running back down in the other direction. And so what we did was we gave 2 points for any basket that was scored following an offensive rebound. And all of a sudden now it means a little bit more. So guess what? Guys started to offensive rebound. Guess what the defense did? The defense didn't like that. And so they started to box out. And so we got better at rebounding, both on the offensive end and the defensive end. A lot of times our kids would be afraid to throw the back door play because it was a turnover and one less possession, and next thing you know, they'd be knocked out. And so we gave 2 points or even 3 points for a back door, a layup. And next thing you know, guess what? Everybody's going back door and trying it. Guess what the defense did? They adjusted too. And then it gave you a better look as to true options, whether you could go back door or whether you could jab and come back off the ball. But we did that fast break. Our kids weren't fast breaking very well. Again, not wanting to take a chance. And next thing you know, you give 2 or 3 points for a fast break layup. And then it works. The defense is going to retreat quicker too. And so, there's all these little things you can do to make it more competitive. And, kids want to stay on. That's the deal. And 1 point just doesn't do it. And so when you can get 2 or 3 points for a certain, thing that you want them to do, it really motivates them and makes them do it and makes the games even better. And so that worked for me. I hope it works for you. Good luck. Hope you're enjoying the Olympics, and enjoy the rest of the summer.
Tim Jackson, author of Understanding College Athletics Through the Eyes of College Athletes.
This is Tim Jackson, author of Understanding College Athletics Through the Eyes of College Athletes. This month's roundtable question: how can coach help their players get the most out of open gym time, pick up games prior to the start of practice? I think it's important in this age of AAU basketball, where players spend more time playing games than they do working on their skills. It is important that coaches set clear goals for players and for their team. I think it's important that players and coaches spend their gym time focused on fundamentals and not just conditioning. Players should use the open gym time and scrimmages focusing on shooting, specific ball handling, defense, or whatever the goal for that individual and for the team. So it is important, in my opinion, that coaches set clear goals of what they want their players to specifically work on.
Kyle Jurgens, Skutt Catholic High School, Omaha, Nebraska.
Kyle Jurgens, Skutt Catholic High School, Omaha, Nebraska. when I think about the question, how can we get the most out of our open gyms? For us, it's a few things, but we really want to keep it kind of short and sharp and highly competitive. And I feel like, especially like in an off-season format, we'll do a lot of skill stuff, shooting, ball handling, stuff like that, and then we'll play for 45 minutes maybe at the end, an hour max. I just feel like, in my experience, sometimes when you get, past that in an open gym setting, as I said, it can get sloppy. You can start seeing some things you probably don't want to see. And maybe it's not as competitive. You get to the point where, we can just play another game. And, we want every game to matter, because when our season comes, every game matters. And so, just keeping it as competitive as possible, making sure the right guys are probably going against the right guys. Sometimes we'll, get creative, mix it up, play, make it, take it. Even if we're playing full court, if we play in the half court, we only check up on fouls and out of bounds. So we play it live through the net, kind of like the Olympics. Just keeping that pace and intensity and competitiveness, as high as possible. We always on game point, you have to make a free throw or it doesn't count. Feel like, that's one way we can mix free throws and a little bit of pressure free throws into open gym, situations. And that's been good to us too. So these are all our thoughts and some of the things that we do. And so, like I said, just keeping it, short and sharp and as competitive as possible throughout, to me, is the most important thing. So look forward to hearing other thoughts and thanks.
Over the past 2 AAU seasons, both my son's team and my daughter's team have used Game Changer. It's simply the best basketball team app. We used it to live stream games for parents and grandparents that weren't able to make the games in person. We used it for coaching video. We used it to track both team and individual statistics. And it's so incredibly easy to use, you'll be blown away. Download Game Changer now and start using it with your team. Bob Krasancic, Mentor High School, Mentor, Ohio.
Coach K, Mentor High School. The answer to this question better be yes. You better be able to help your player. You could help them by telling them to guard the best player on the other team every pickup game, every open gym, so they get better defensively. They guard a big, they guard a guard, so they're versatile. Offensively, work on their weaknesses, whether it's ball handling, explosiveness, whether it's a three-point shot, getting it off quicker, whether it's attacking the rim and getting it to the glass. So although I do not like open gyms or pickup games, there are definitely some things that skill-wise your player can get much better at. Best of luck.
Joel Lincoln, Game Shots Basketball.
Hi, Hoopheads listeners. This is Joel Lincoln with Game Shots Basketball answering this month's coaching roundtable question. How can a coach help their players get the most out of open gyms or pickup games prior to the start of official practice? Number one, for players, you need to implement what you've been working on all summer. So using those moves you were working on and just continue to play fearlessly and work on your weaknesses. And then finally, just really encourage players to use your weak hand and do things that are out of your comfort zone. You should be working on what you improved at this off season. Coaches, I think you should play more 3x3, making sure the games are quick, high pace, a lot of possessions, encouraging spacing, IQ. You can't dictate actions, but you can kind of tell them how you would like to start a possession. I think when you are going full court, couple things that are important. Number one, have short games, 207, 2s and 3s. So that games are very, very important. The possessions matter, and have an automatic loss or get the ball back if not all 5 players are on the correct side of the court. And then finally, validate each win. Whoever hits the game-winning bucket needs to make a free throw to validate their win. If they miss it, they go back to whatever their previous score is, and the game continues.
David McGrail from Penn State, Altoona.
What's going on, Hoopheads Nation? Coach David McGrail, Penn State, Altoona, back at you. This month's roundtable question: how can a coach help their players get the most out of open gym or pickup games prior to the official start of practice? Great question. Again, open gyms, captain practices are things that obviously at our level are very useful tools for our student athletes to get a chance to play together for the first time, especially with some of the newcomers. So it is important that they get that ability to work together with new players to the program. Hopefully, try to teach them things that we do here, both offensively and defensively. One of the things we do the first week of school, we have individual meetings the first week where we look at their schedule and other things along those lines. But that's the time when the coaching staff and I really pinpoint to each player what they need to work on in order to make an impact going into the season. So obviously that's a way that we can really dive into what we believe a player's strengths and weaknesses are. Obviously, and really kind of motivate them to work on those while they're playing pickup, while they're doing open gym. Again, with some of the rules, we're not allowed to watch it a lot per se. And so obviously we'll know if they're working on those things once we get our hands on them in official practice time. So again, those are some of the things we like to see when these guys are playing pickup and open gym, captain's practice early in the fall. Obviously, it's an opportunity for them to work together, to get a chance to play with new players, new teammates, but also then it's time for us as coaches in those individual meetings to tell the guys what we believe they got to work on individually. So hopefully they're doing that during pickup, during open gyms. So when we get them going on that first official day, we can tell they've worked on those weaknesses. All right. Hope that helps. Good to talk to everybody again. Good luck this year to everybody as we roll into August, and hope to talk to y'all soon.
Brooks Miller from Trine University.
Hoopheads, Brooks Miller here, Trine men's basketball head coach. Open gym can play a really vital role in the development of an individual or a team leading up into official practice. But I think you got to keep it simple. Get the players to understand, hey, this is what I'm working on this offseason that can make the team better when it comes to individual skill. Maybe it's hunting threes in transition or hunting a jump stop scenario. I need to improve on my jump stops, where you tell a young man, hey, look, try to get 3 to 5 jump stops per open gym game, and we'll make the team a whole heck of a lot better. And also collectively, I think when you're talking about playing open gym, the more you share the ball, the better you can get at both ends of the floor. Defensively, you see a lot of different actions. You see more movement. You got longer possessions. You got to fight through them. Offensively, you got to learn how to pass the ball to teammates, especially if you have new teammates coming in that year, get a better feel for where they like the ball on the floor. And you just get more movement off the ball. So I think those two things, pick one skill that each individual player wants to hunt and get better at, whether it's a couple weeks into open gym and maybe build on that. But two, most importantly, as a team, share the ball. Get the ball moving in open gym because, one, a lot of people don't want to do it. And two, it just makes you better in so many different aspects of the game.
Don Showalter, USA Basketball.
Hi, this is Don Showalter from USA Basketball. A couple of things I think that would help open gyms would be, first of all, have them do some skill development before just playing. Maybe make 100 shots or, do a dribble, cone dribbling or whatever. But have some designated skill development take place before they're allowed to scrimmage 5-on-5. And then another idea that I think is really good is to play have a 3-on-3 tournament or 3-on-3 contest before you play 5-on-5. This really gets the kids in a good mindset, and the 3-on-3 is really a fun way to get started. So I think those are two of the main things that I would recommend you do before you start an open gym.
John Schulman from the University of Central Arkansas.
How you doing? This is John Schulman, head basketball coach at the University of Central Arkansas. And the question for this month is, how can a coach help a player get the most out of pickup before practice starts? I think a couple things you could do. I'm not sure if you're allowed to be in there while they're playing pickup or not, but have a theme for the day. We're not setting any ball screens, or we have to score off a ball screen, or once you get the ball down the floor, you can't, you have to play no dribble, or you got to throw the ball in the post. Have a theme for that game, or have a theme for the day, and have a idea on kind of how they can score, and kind of do something like that to help them have an idea on exactly what they can get out of that day. The other thing is, I don't know if you're allowed to, but you could pick the teams. You already have the teams in mind, and you let them know what teams are going today and how that works. The biggest thing that we have found is that to make them competitive and get something out of it is keep track and keep a record. Make sure those records are posted, and I think that right there makes pick up more competitive. If you're keeping records and there's one kid that wins every game, no matter who's on his team, that will probably give you an idea, and the team an idea on who should be playing when the season starts. So I hope this helps. Pickup, I think, is important. If you are allowed to watch pickup, I think you ought to watch pickup and kind of keep your mouth closed and watch. And because during pickup, players go to the areas that they feel most comfortable, and you can kind of, instead of trying to incorporate them into your offensive system, you can kind of incorporate your offensive system into what they do well. And so watch them play, watch them what they do well, watch them what they don't do well, and try to do what's best for the kid. And I think that's if you're allowed to watch pickup. There's different rules in different states, and hopefully this gives you a little bit of an idea. And good luck getting started. And if y'all ever need anything, just hit us up out here in Conway, Arkansas. Thanks and good luck.
Thanks for checking out this month's Hoopheads Podcast Roundtable. We'll be back next month with another question for our all-star lineup of coaches. Your first impression is everything when applying for a new coaching job. A professional coaching portfolio is the tool that highlights your coaching achievements and philosophies, and most of all, helps separate you and your abilities from the other applicants. The Coaching Portfolio Guide is an instructional, membership-based website that helps you develop a personalized portfolio. Each section of the Portfolio Guide provides detailed instructions on how to organize your portfolio in a professional manner. The guide also provides sample documents for each section of your portfolio that you can copy, modify, and add to your personal portfolio. As a Hoopheads Pod listener, you can get your Coaching Portfolio Guide for just $25. Visit coachingportfolioguide.com/hoopheads to learn more.
Thanks for listening to the Hoopheads Podcast, presented by Head Start Basketball.